Slowly on. All right, Rich.
We are good?
You're good.
Okay, this is the Thursday, March 31st, 2022 regular meeting of the Select Board of Waterville Valley. I am Rich Reader, the chair. I have with me another Select Board member, Bob Freeze, and our vice chair will be joining us shortly. So two of us are here. We have a quorum. We can begin. Let me start with a privilege of the floor. Is there anybody here? Is there anybody here? Yes.
Okay.
Would you please approach and state your name, purpose, and
Okay.
all that kind of good stuff?
So my name is Irit Levy, and first of all, thank you for giving us a moment to give you an update as to what we've been doing for the past 2+ years. I'm representing the Citizens Recycling Group, CRG. And we now have 2 of our members who are part of the municipal solid waste. So we will liaise with them and coordinate our findings and work projects. All right, so first I want to say that it's time for the town to get into first gear with recycling. After 4 years of minimal recycling, I shouldn't forget that we do have some recycling going on. But when I say recycling, I'm referring to paper, plastic, glass cans, cardboard, etc. Plus, we want to remind people that we are focusing on what we can do, not what we can't do. And recycling right, not as it was. I think we were doing single stream, and that's no longer what the NRRA recommends. Does everyone know what the NRRA is?
Go ahead and.
It's the New
spell it,
England Resource Recovery Association, of which our town is a member. So we follow their guidelines, their recommendations. We try anyway. All right, so they are basically spearheading towns to recycle right. They focus on waste diversion. And I want to repeat that 24% of all waste is food waste. That's very important and very significant. 24%, that's our trash and our costs. So both those things are significant. The other emphasis is cost avoidance. We are trying to reduce our expenses. So that's something to think about. Another point is the insert for our July tax bill. We put together, the whole group put together an insert that is full of hints for recycling and reducing waste now. This is what we can do now. I think most of you have seen a copy of this. If not, let me know and I can forward it to you. That form, that little insert includes things like pack in, pack out, Trex recycling that we have going on in 4 different places, using Hannaford bins. That's important too. Most of us shop at Hannaford, so we can just bring our recycling and make a deposit. That's free. And it reduces our trash. Does everyone know what pack in, pack out is? So I'm sad to say that this is one of the things that we've recommended. And I'm ashamed to say that. I'm ashamed to say to people, well, when you drive in from Massachusetts with all your food, can you please bring your recyclables back? So that's what we call pack in, pack out. And people have responded in many different ways. Why should I do that? I'm tired of schlepping my things back there. But we're trying to reduce our waste. We're trying to do the things that don't cost us right now. And we have to be patient because it's going to be a long 6 years before we can get anything secured. So.
Why do you say 6 years? Because of the treatment plant? being
Yes,
built? Okay.
yes, because we will, we might, shouldn't say we might be able to use some of the lagoons when they're dried and dredged and prepared, might. That's what we're hoping for. I know we have competition with everything else going on. So recommendations, this is what we want to recommend.
You may not have as much competition as you think.
Yeah, right.
Okay, that's good news.
Well, yes and no.
So yes, I just want to keep this on the table. Recommendations. The first thing we'd like to say is the DPW employees should be integrated with our recycling efforts. What I mean is, I don't want to hear that only volunteers are going to be recycling. I think we should leave it at the Trex, since that's working fine the way it is. In 4 different places, people find it convenient to use. And right now, 4 or 5 people don't mind picking it up and bringing it to Market Basket. So I'd like to say that I think that works fine, but minimize the use of volunteers and incorporate the DPW into this. Another recommendations, no more blue bins around town. Like we have blue bins at town hall, we have blue bins at the post office. Why do I say this? Because it conveys a false idea that we are recycling. Another thing, this is going to be hard to swallow, but we would like that you discontinue the practice of allowing town employees to bring their trash to our Waterville Valley dumpsters. This basically neutralizes all the efforts that we're making to reduce the trash when you invite other people to bring their trash. So that's a tough one. Number 4, we would like to, this is long-term plan, establish a waste diversion fund. For example, for our future cardboard baler and all the equipment that is necessary for that. All right, I'm almost done.
What does that mean?
What does what mean?
Set up a
Waste diversion. What do you mean by waste diversion?
Fund,
Waste diversion?
Fun.
waste diversion fund.
Oh, waste diversion fund can be classified as a fund, and from there you can do things like,
So set up a
Invest-
capital reserve.
yeah, a capital
Capital
account
reserve.
for either a cardboard baler, other equipment for the recycling, or what was the other thing? Oh, possibly rebating those residents who are purchasing $400 household composters. See, so we've said many times that 24% of all our trash is food. So we're taking several of us, maybe 5 of us so far, have food composters. So all that weight is being diverted from the trash that Jim has to haul up to Bethlehem. So we hope that it's not just the weight that we're saving money by not hauling as much. Okay, so another point, our town recycling survey results are in, but we haven't had time to collate and can't present to you today, but it's coming and it looks very good. We had 130 respondents, which is pretty good, I hear, for this a survey in this town. 130 people. All right. So the follow-up is that we're going to allow the recycling subcommittee to deliberate our recommendations. So you will hear further in another committee.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you have any? I'm sorry. Did you have any?
No, I cut it short. So
Oh,
that
okay. Well, I would appreciate that. As you know, we had a long meeting before
Yes.
this, so
Yes.
just a few general comments,
Yes.
and Bob, feel free to comment as well. First, thank you. I mean, it is very important to have, residents of the town interested in town affairs. And one of the issues we've all of us who live here noticed that as the same handful of people seem to end up on all the boards or committees or whatnot. And it's just nice to see people participate in important community efforts. So I very much appreciate your group, and I think having 2 of your members on the Municipal Solid Waste Committee will go a long way toward at least if not adopting everything you want, at least having a full
Yes.
and open discussion
Mhm.
and looking at what we can and cannot do. And Barbara and Kelly were at our solid waste committee meeting on Tuesday, just a couple of days ago. And so that was a great start. They're on the recycle subcommittee,
Yes.
as is Tom Ennis,
Yes.
who I think is also a member of your group.
Yes.
But we were unable to seat him on the committee at this time, on the solid waste committee at that time, because we're already full up, but there may be an opening because we've had some inactive folks on it. So we're still looking at that. So generally speaking, I think that the recommendations that you've brought to us today are exactly the sorts of things that I know, at least I had in my mind when I think it's fair to say that I was the moving force behind creating the solid waste committee, in having a town body that would look at these sorts of things rather than having a select board, and not really having a chance to discuss them fully. So I think all your recommendations we will turn over. I really have with Kelly and Barbara there turned over. And in fact, I think we told them on Tuesday that they can start working on them and maybe prioritizing them for the solid waste committee. So we can, from your perspective, what you think we can do or should be doing quickly,
Yes.
maybe more easily can be done.
Right.
So our next committee meeting is May 10th, I believe.
Mhm.
So I think this will certainly be an agenda item that they can bring to the committee as members of the committee.
Perfect.
A couple of these items that they think we should move on.
Right.
And as you know, the municipal solid waste committee exists to advise and make recommendations to the select board so that they can bring to us,
Right.
this committee, what they think we should do. But that doesn't mean you can't come in front of the select board at any time, pound on the table and say, we want this.
Where's my shoe?
Yes, pound away. We'll see what we can do. So members on the insert, that sounds like a good
We'll work it
idea.
out. We'll work it
Yeah,
out.
okay,
I'll
so,
talk to
So,
yeah,
so.
Yeah, on
we
the
don't-
insert.
You don't need to approve it. Mark is okay with it.
Yeah, no, we just did.
We'll,
Yeah.
as we get closer to the July billing,
Okay.
we'll start talking about what that insert is.
Right,
The second quarter?
The second quarter
Second
water
quarter.
insert.
yeah. And when do
Not
those,
this-
yeah, okay. And I think, Bob, do you want to say anything further?
No, I wonder whether, other than town employees bringing their trash in, which might be a hard one to do, I wonder how many other people from Waterville Estates or different places
They're-
drop off
We
their
know,
trash.
we know they're coming here.
Yeah,
But
they are.
we don't have control over them, but we do have
Yeah.
control over
Yeah.
potentially what our employees are doing.
I mean, I think we all know that there's an issue with our 24/7, just to answer Bob's question, our 24/7 open access
Yeah.
facility. And there's really little to nothing that we can do other than we have the cameras up there and observant citizens who see people come, drive up 49 and turn right in and then go up and turn around and go
Yeah.
and go back down. And that, as Eric said, we really are in a difficult position since anything we want to do, and we will be redoing our solid waste disposal operation differently as once this plant comes online. It's just the way it's going to happen because the land will be used differently if for no other reason. So until then, which is
Well, then,
4 or 5 years downstream, we got to look for the things we can do. So, but I think everybody knows that, but there's little we can do, I don't think there's anything in the works to stop a 24/7 operation
Right.
here. Now, that's going to change when next year we move up, the interim transfer station process begins.
Well, it's still gonna be.
It's still going to be open, but maybe it's not right on the
It's not
road.
quite as- yeah.
No,
not
it's
as
not quite
accessible.
as accessible.
we'll
Not-
keep it a secret. Don't
Yeah,
tell
all
them.
those people will go someplace else,
No,
I
we
think.
can't keep it a secret.
No, well,
Because we're still
they
gonna
may
have people
divert to
driving down
someplace
here,
else.
we can't
Okay.
have that. So
Anyway.
The
go ahead.
Bears must be back. I noticed the padlocks are back.
They are.
Yes, yeah. Was that it, Eric?
That was it.
Any,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jenny or John, did you want to comment on this or anything else?
We're just here for support, that's all.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. No, thank you very much. Okay, so I'll pass on the minutes till Margaret gets back.
Financial report.
She's coming in now. Why don't you go ahead with the financial report?
Steve, do you want to? So Steve can address any specifics if you want, or I can. We are 10% collected revenues year to date, 21.5% expended, and we're 21.2% through the year. All of the departments are tracking, even with kind of a heavy winter, especially salt and sand use. Highways are doing okay. Nothing out of the ordinary in any of the departments at this point in time. Debt service, or interest payments, it's a timing issue for the payments, not overexpended in that line.
Just a couple of
Go
things that
ahead.
are a little more granular that I noticed, Mark,
Yeah.
that looks in the police miscellaneous revenue line, where we already met our annual budget.
Yeah.
Mostly attributed to parking tickets there. The wings program is ahead of budget already. We have some line items related to fuel that are trending a little higher than we'd like to see. Our diesel lines in the medical account are at 50% of our annual budget, and highway diesel is at 64% of the annual budget right now.
And I imagine it's going to go
Which is why the $100,000
extra that we
extra.
voted on. Yeah.
The rec revenues are at 50%, but we opened registration for summer camps, so those are
Those are the
the
funds.
revenues that were collected in March.
Bob, Margaret, any
No.
question on the budget?
Good.
Okay, thank you for that. Let's go back to the approval of the minutes. The only one I think I had, Sharon, was the 9 February budget hearing minutes.
Correct.
Okay, doke.
The other one I just finished, but I didn't want.
Okay, yeah, we wouldn't have gotten it today. We'll just take care of them at the next meeting. Where all the back and forth emails on it makes sense.
Yeah.
The annotated, Margaret suggested Mark's notes to cover the lack of audio.
Audio.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if I could have a motion, To
I
approve the
move
minutes?
We accept the February 9th, 2022 budget hearing minutes as amended.
I will second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Department head reports. Let's see, I went left to right last time. I'm gonna go right to left this time. My right. So have at it.
Well, we have a busy weekend coming up. We have the book fair for the school started yesterday. And we are involved with that today. The kids are doing sort of a movie in the gym pretty soon. And then this weekend we are hosting the Special Olympics. So we canceled all programming to host them. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but then actually we do have a birthday party and a couple other things on Sunday afternoon that we're able to maintain, but so that will be a busy weekend.
So is that they're doing the normal events that they do?
Well, this one is not their typical event. This is more of a training camp for their Florida games that happened, I believe, in
USA Games in June.
June.
It's a team building event, so it's not the.
I was gonna say,
not the
what they
Winter Games,
doing,
It's a
yeah,
team building for
for
the
summer.
participants that are going to the USA Games in Orlando.
Oh,
in June.
So they're excited to come back because this will be the first time, I think, for them to sort of come back at an event like this for, over 2 years. But hopefully we'll get to host them again for the regular Winter Games next year where we have the dance and all that at the rec department. So won't be quite as crazy, but it will be full. And other than that, just our regular programming, lots of after school programs, lots of programs on the weekend and in the afternoons with our pickleball, Irish dance, all the regular stuff that's going on.
And we're getting near the end of the school year, believe it or not. too.
Right,
So,
right. So lots of coordinating with the principal.
Coordinating,
They've been using our buses a lot. We've been chaperoning some of their field trips. And so we've been working together a lot lately, which has been great.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Any questions? No.
Things going well with the new principal?
I think so.
Excellent. Okay, Jim. He's not.
Dylan's good.
Dylan's
I, you know, when
He
you know,
spent 2 hours.
he spent 2 hours with us, and I just, whenever he says something, it costs us money.
It's okay, Dylan. It's all right, dude.
Well, I'll get you new structure. To Bob's point, yes, it is bear season. We had our first bear mauling of the season of a dumpster, so we had cleaned that up first thing this morning. So thus the clips are going back on. And I know they're inconvenient, but they're a necessity, so the bears are out. Mud season, kind of dreary, kind of boring, so hopefully no big storms because the wings are coming off because of the conditions of the shoulders, so and the sides of the road, so we don't want to make them any worse than they are, so we don't have to fix them all. Other than that, the new guy is working out well, Ryan, and hopefully he seems like he's going to be a good fit, so we're happy with that, and things are going fairly well.
Did I see a bungee cord trying to hold together some of the a guardrail on Valley Road?
You may have, yeah, just temporary. We
Right.
are in the middle of fixing guardrails.
Guardrails? Okay, I figured as much, but
Yeah,
yeah,
there are some that,
took a little bit of a beating for one reason or the other.
yes, so, and over time. And I do understand, I'm not quite sure about when the start date will be, but 49 coming in from the dam will be receiving all new guardrails at some point this summer. So I did see that because the state had a pre-construction meeting. So
This isn't one of those state projects that if we wanted to, we could jump on for a reduced cost or anything like that?
we do have guardrail as part of our road project. There is a pre-bid meeting for the road project next Tuesday at 10. And so I was able to confirm that just before this meeting. And so it'll be interesting. And part of that, there is guardrail in there. So if we would like to, I do have several sections of guardrail that I would like to see if I could get included, depending upon how bids come out.
Okay,
What's the status of the couple of hydrants? I know you can't do it in the winter, but a couple of hydrants that have been out of service for quite a while.
Correct. We were all set to replace those hydrants. I think the one at BPTS and the other on Cascade Ridge. So, for lack of a better word or a better term, supply chain issues, those hydrants were not available. And they were like 12 weeks out. And so that put us, into December. And so they were slated to be done in the fall.
and they're still 12 weeks out.
And they're still,
Are they here
So
yet?
we've got the
we've got-
material
we've got-
now.
we have
Yeah.
one of them. Which you're referring to the ones with the one that are out of service.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Not the ones that were part of the water crossing project.
Right. No, I'm okay,
Okay,
fine. But you have one of them on hand now.
yes, I do.
Should we do that in-house? Is that what we do?
No,
Get
we
it.
contract that out. If it's a simple repair, we do that in-house. If it's a replacement, we contract it out.
Okay.
Jim, I know you're going around patching roads. The Forest Service Bridge at
Yes,
the end of West Branch Road, I've given up going out of town that way.
We've
It's quite a
discussed-
deep,
We've discussed that, and
Mm-hmm.
I think the cure for that would quite possibly be asphalt does not bind to a wood deck,
Mhm,
and that is a wood deck bridge.
mhm.
So I think the idea would be to coordinate with the Forest Service to see if we could remove the asphalt at some point in time and replace it with planking
Mhm.
that might be more durable.
Right,
Because we do patch them and then we lose them.
right.
And it typically takes.
Every
about
year. Mhm.
Several times,
Yeah.
several times.
That is their
And-
bridge, but we maintain it.
And so far, I think I've got about 120 bags in those holes of patch, so,
But there's one particularly bad
yes.
part on that. bridge
Swallow your
right now.
car type of
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, unless you have any other questions.
Okay, all right, Dylan, I know you're chomping at the bit.
Everything, so as far as it goes, it's good, busy month. I'll have the month of March. Low
Flows.
based off of previous 2 years. Wastewater numbers are gonna be right up there. It's gonna be tight with 2020, which was, as I mentioned in the last meeting, was when we had the leak in the mountain for the whole month when there was no one up there in 2020. And even with that being said, it's still just as high as that. We haven't had any main leak, water main leaks that have contributed into a sewer system. We hadn't really thought that could be part of it. And the water numbers are significantly high, and we only have one small leak that was maybe 150,000 gallons, and we're looking at over 1.2 million higher than 2021 in March. So a lot of people in town staying here. So
Margaret? Anything? All right. Thank you. Steve?
The recruiting efforts have begun to replace Ann at our post office. So Ann and I have interviewed a couple of folks, and those folks are going to continue through the interview process by meeting with Mark and I. We have one tomorrow afternoon and another early next week. So we're hoping to have an offer extended by the end of next week to fill that position, which will give
Excellent.
the new person ample time to train with Ann before her expected departure date, which is the end of May or so. We have the town square meeting space squared away. We have that space available to the town 3 days a week, Tuesday through Thursday through the month of July and into August if we need it. Sharon and I are gonna go there tomorrow to do a pretty thorough test on the tech capabilities, or maybe lack thereof. I'm hoping not, but Abby has assured me that the internet in that space is the strongest in all of Town Square. So I'm
Okay.
hoping that holds true and will.
It's all relative.
Yeah.
Issues.
Must be near the router.
Well, the bottom line, this is the last meeting.
That's
through
right. This
probably
means this very
the end
meeting.
of July or so
Mhm.
that we'll be meeting in here.
Right. Any board or
Any
committee,
board,
right.
any town board.
Right.
So we purchased a monitor, slightly smaller than that, a 50-inch monitor that I try to pair as well to host video conferencing needs and whatnot. So it's all in the works. Sharon and I will have more knowledge about it tomorrow. I have training coming up in April, so I'll be down in a couple of days in Concord at training to become a the agent to register motor vehicles. So that's 4/13 and 4/14. I'll be doing that. We have a couple of dates scheduled also in April, 4/20 and 4/21, that we're hoping to close the town office for those 2 days to get some spring cleaning done. We have a lot of materials up in our attic here that are past the retention dates that we'd like to heave ho and shred and move some stuff back upstairs and cycle through that.
Just be careful. You still have a recycle group here.
recycled.
We will.
We're listening.
Yes, shredded then recycled. paper. Yeah.
Can you take it home with you?
Does your town recycle?
If it wasn't an entire dumpster.
Yeah,
worth of
maybe,
Paper, yeah,
That much? Yeah.
yeah, we haven't done this for several years now with the pandemic and everything, so this is something we try to do every few years, and we're way behind. We've got to clean that up.
4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years now.
And then the last thing I had is where I guess the past couple of years, we've had some communication, customer service, or lack thereof experiences with the firm that does our annual financial audit, asking for things, told that we're gonna get them, we end up getting them, but after some persistence, so we're gonna, I'm drafting up an RFP right now that I'm gonna share with Mark, hopefully in the next week or so, then share, Jeff, our treasurer Webb, also said he'll have a look over that RFP for us before we get it out, but I'm hoping to have some qualified candidates or companies submitting proposals to us by July, to see if we can find someone new to help us there.
Our historical auditor has retired and transferred his practice to another company. And we've had difficulties over the last 2 years just getting material when the audit's finished. So we're putting it up when we get back.
Okay.
Anything for me?
Good.
Yep.
Great.
Oh,
Good. Okay, so this is the police chief and the department chief.
So we'll have March numbers by tomorrow. I don't have them for you because it's not the end of March for cards coming in and out of town or in town. April's, we're gonna be reading to the school. The new principal, I agree, is fantastic. I've known her for years in Canton, but I think it's also COVID's let up a little bit. So every Friday, we're going over with a different group of officers to read to the kids. We have a school trip coming here in May. The whole school's coming over in May for a 3-hour block at different times for different ages to tour the station. And we're just trying to have a better relationship. We've always had a great relationship. COVID came, kind of so we're trying to get back to doing that. Same thing with community events. Me and Dave were talking the other day about maybe not coffee with a cop, but doing something starting in April, maybe May, and just trying to get some more community stuff going again. For recycling, we just started a brand new system for our police records. It's called CSI, gets rid of IMC, which will allow us to go paperless. So the only thing we'll have to print by statute are accidents and arrests. So we won't have, every report won't be printed anymore. Same price, no change in budget for that. We gave a conditional offer to a potential new hire contingent on his background. He comes with 11 years law enforcement and already an EMT. So Norikyo will be graduating the academy the 22nd of April. So we should be up and running full staff, hopefully by the 25th, which will be nice. I think that is it. Yeah, I think that's it for me.
Good.
And hockey's gone, so.
and
Hockey's down
parking wars
50%.
are over for a little while.
So the parking, yes, our revenue is up, but that is 96% the ski area. So that's not very few in the rest of town. So it's mostly the ski area. So
Anything but?
Nope.
Good. Okay.
The EMS, EMT class has their midterm tonight down here. So we're about halfway through. It's going very well. They haven't lost anybody, so that's good. We'll see after tonight, but hopefully not. There is a potential for a rock crusher coming to Green Peak. I'll know from Dana on Monday those dates, but potentially either later in the week or the week after. So this is a machine that breaks rocks, and you can
Big
imagine
rocks turn into little rocks.
into little rocks that it's going to be quite the amount of noise. He said he's not going to operate outside the hours that he's supposed to.
But it should be there for about a week's time, so I don't have a date yet when he's actually gonna be showing up.
I think the Capels are gonna be gone, so.
Well, if it shows up soon enough.
Yeah.
That's,
I see, right,
So
like
we
everything
will-
else, right?
We will reach out to them and the Black Bear.
Right,
Just
of
to,
course.
just to let them know that to expect it's just gonna be during the week and just
Mm-hmm.
while they're working. There's some material there that they can reuse, and this machine will help reuse some of the material that they have.
So when is that?
He's gonna give me a date on Monday.
we'll email you as soon as we have it.
As soon as we know.
You take your vacation then. Bob?
So we have one issue that came up this week is a condo association reached out to me and said, hey, this person was given a short-term rental permit. We don't allow them here under our bylaws. What can we do? They were given a copy of the application. As part of that application, there is an acknowledgement. And as part of that acknowledgement for our permit, that they have, by signing the bottom, your association, this is an allowed use from your association. If you're okay with it, my plan, or I'll take any input that you have, is I was going to write a letter suspending that permit on the basis that I can reinstate that permit for short-term rental if I get a letter from the association making it an allowed activity at their association. I think that's pretty reasonable, as if you agree, that's the course.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll take,
unless-
or-
Unless the association already told you it's not gonna be allowed, then you could void it, but if they play there, then I think suspension is a reasonable.
I
Course of
mean,
action.
what's the association? Can you say?
Yeah, village
Okay,
condo. So we don't have a list, and for us, the way we did the permit is the person making the application is
right.
acknowledging that
Mhm.
this is an allowed use, because we don't keep track of every association
right,
No, no,
and what their
right.
rules are.
right.
So we leave it up to the individual to say, yes, we've gotten permission from our association to have this kind of activity there.
What you would hope is just an error. I mean, no,
Right.
you don't want to intentionally sign your name to an official document, which a permit is.
Yeah,
That's misleading.
Have they been, has this been going on for all winter?
no, it was just recently issued in January. They just recently found out about it and reached out to us, so I'm just playing the mediator here as far as I'm your enforcement person in this matter, so if you think that that's a reasonable course of action, that's what I'm gonna do.
Mhm.
They'll get a letter saying I'll suspend it. I can rescind it if they can produce a letter that says it's allowable, that the association agrees with.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, fine.
In my experience,
Mhm.
many times when you do a revow project, you find that there's a lot of construction that's gone on without being permitted.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the other things that we're gonna look at doing over the summer is do a separate mailing and update people with rules about permits. So building permits, the short-term rental, that sort of thing, just kind of bring them up to date
Right.
with requirements. So
Okay.
I just think that in line with the reval, it's a good time to do it. And that'll help us. We will also reach out to the associations and we will start keeping a list of the associations and what they allow. So that if we do get a permit, we have something to double check against. And maybe we can head
Yeah.
this situation on.
Although I would say it's on, the owner should be on the associations
Absolutely.
to
Yep.
provide that information.
Yep.
That be readily available to the town, so that when you're going through the permitting.
I think the issue on this is the owner, this particular owner thought that our permit overruled, superseded
Right.
the association's rules.
Right.
which doesn't.
it's always the opposite.
It's the opposite.
That's
Yeah,
right.
and that's.
If it's more
one thing
restrictive,
that
that's
this- That's one thing that this notice will state.
Emphasize, right?
Yeah.
emphasize.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll do that. There's always questions of feeling, questions about, what prompts a building permit, those types of questions. I get those every week. But if I'm doing just this or that, do I still need to, that kind of thing. So I'm hoping to put out some information to kind of help answer. some
Probably a
of
good
those
time to
questions.
do it. It's still $1,000, right?
Yeah,
If you have someone come in.
yeah, so typically we look at it as it's $1,000 and or any license work.
License.
Any license work. Okay.
So if you need an electrician. if
Well, you
need
bring
a
someone in,
plumber,
right?
And a lot of times I look at renovations, yes, but maintenance perhaps. So today someone was asked if they needed a permit because they were gonna repave the driveway. If it was already paved, I consider that to be maintenance and doesn't require a permit.
Right.
If it wasn't paved and they wanted to pave it, then yes, because it's an upgrade. But if it is something current, so somebody goes and buys a $1,500 refrigerator, they don't need a permit to replace the refrigerator.
Right.
But if they were putting a refrigerator that required new water to be run to it on a different wall, then yes, it would. So that's
You're
how
gonna
I,
paint your house on the inside.
if you're painting, no,
Yeah,
that's maintenance.
yeah.
I see that as maintenance.
Right.
So there's the distinction between maintenance and renovation.
Mhm.
And
Improvement.
in most cases, if it's a maintenance issue, I'm not asking them for a permit.
Yeah, basically, the building permit, we're trying to track the licensed improvements that can
Improvements,
affect
yeah.
others.
Right.
And also to track new values, so if you're just doing the maintenance stuff that's not really affecting, but if you're adding a room or
Right.
Mhm.
something like that,
Yeah.
that has.
Catch
some-
them in the
Yeah,
assessments.
Yeah.
and the,
keep the records up to date.
That is.
When you look at businesses around town, do your annual inspection, is handicap accessibility one of the things on your list?
It usually, I'd say that it is, unless if it changes, I guess it is.
Okay.
We would look at that. Most of the time, the handicap, not many of our commercial handicap places have changed. They've been established when they were first, these buildings were first built. And it's always based on a calculation. So I guess if an occupancy changes or something like that, then we could look at that, but
Okay.
Not typically.
Is it
Other
grandfathered
than-
officially?
I'm sorry.
Is there a grandfather? You don't have to do it, right? But if you're redoing like an entryway, are you required to make it accessible?
Handicap,
Yeah.
ADA for commercial properties, if you do renovations.
Right, that's when you have to.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's a property in town that's having some considerable renovations. I'm not sure they considered that their fire alarm and life safety equipment had to be upgraded. I had a visit yesterday and it's gonna be significant. Because of a renovation, they have to upgrade to the new code. They have to meet the code. So it's things like that we're seeing through the building process.
Mhm.
That's saying, oh, this is a lot more. This is a renovation that is so much that it now prompts you to meet code now, and for the life safety code.
And the same thing is applicable to ADA standards. If you make the renovations
Right.
over, that's what happened out at the athletic club. They made renovations over $100,000. They had to meet all the ADA
As well.
requirements, so.
Right.
Yeah.
The last thing that I have is a question that came up about a driveway permit and some potential accessory buildings. That's not the accessory buildings isn't what I'm asking here, but Stone Tower Lane, there should be a copy for each of you. The question was potentially an accessory building to one of these properties and a separate driveway from Stone Tower Lane to that accessory building.
And we have a couple of issues. Stone Tower Lane in its entirety is not a town, well, it's not a town road.
But you plow it.
We plow it because of the fire lane
As an emergency, right.
designation.
Needed for emergencies, right?
The road, as far as issuing a driveway permit, those are onto publicly maintained roads. This doesn't meet that standard.
Criteria, right?
So I would, in talking to Dave, I have some concerns about issuing a driveway permit because the town only owns the yellow highlighted section of Stone Tower Lane. Everything else is private property. And so I don't think it would be appropriate for the town to issue a driveway permit onto Stone Tower Lane.
But all of those properties that I see there have driveways.
They do. Whether or not those were driveway permits or they were, whether Stone Tower Lane was considered the driveway
Right,
at the
to begin with.
time,
Right.
those are their 1980s, 1970s properties. They're not recent buildings.
Right.
So I did not do the research as far as what permit was issued to them back when those buildings were built. But I would suggest that we not put further driveways onto that road at this point in time.
Is there anything that prevents any of those property owners from expanding their driveway or?
Not really.
They don't need a permit to do it.
No.
So the question is just whether it's a town permit or whether they just do it on their own?
Well, the existing driveways, unless, like Dave was saying, if they just widen the entrance of their driveway and kept it in this current condition, I think those are both gravel driveways, right?
Yeah.
So if they stayed as gravel driveways and they just widened the way to come on to Stone Tower, I don't think we would say anything about
Because you can
that.
still plow.
If they
fine,
went
right.
to pave it, then they would need to get a building permit because they're improving.
A building permit.
A building permit, not a driveway permit. And I would recommend that we just leave those two as the only ones that are onto Stone Tower. The BBTS has a back entrance to their parking lot,
Mhm.
but it's all their land.
Mhm.
That the road at that point is a right of way
Mhm.
on their property. So I don't think we have much to say about that either. Jim, is that fair?
But if somebody who, for instance, has a driveway that currently exits on West Branch Road and they wish to extend that driveway beyond their house over to Stone Tower Lane, is there anything that prohibits that?
They would have to get permission from BBTS, I would say, because the right of way is BBTS's to grant. Right now, they've granted the town the right of way through there. Right, and access to the Stone Tower area,
Mhm.
the little parcel there.
Mhm.
But we would not issue a driveway permit for that. And it's very difficult because the one that we're being asked to grant the driveway permit, the town owns the parcel adjacent to their land.
The yellow,
if
the yellow area.
the yellow,
the yellow part of the road.
but we don't own that right of way. So I would say it would be up to BBTS to,
So if this person wanted to do that, then they would have to go to BBTS and get permission
At-
to go onto their right of
at
way.
this point, I would say yes.
And once
because-
they had that, if they wanted to build an extension of their existing driveway down to there, they could do
I
that.
don't see any way we could stop them.
And it would or would not require a building permit.
A building permit?
If it's just a
If it's
road
just-
or a driveway, no, as long as they meet the setback.
This, this is something I'd like you as a board to think about and talk about is how do we want to handle this going forward? I mean, there's not going to be any more development on that road, but handling it as an emergency access way like we are right now is really stretching the statute. And this question has just brought to light the fact that we have this road that's, the
Not a
town
road.
maintains, but we only own a very small part of it. And it really is a driveway to those two houses, is what it is.
The part that the town owns,
No, the whole thing, all
Right.
of Stone Tower
all of
is
Stone Tower.
really a driveway.
Right,
One goes into the first house off of West Branch Road. And then the other end of it goes to the middle parcel.
Well, and then there's three
I thought-
properties that have direct.
Their driveways are out to West Branch.
Well, not, there's three.
There's three.
Along.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Stone
three.
Tower
Yes,
Lane.
the
Yeah.
three.
This
The
is-
three.
Yeah,
So two go out to West Branch as a driveway, and then the other one turns and goes to Boulder Path Road
Mhm,
right.
the other way,
mhm.
past Stone Tower.
So we're saying that with approval from BBTS, lots 18 or 19 could put in their own driveway without a town.
I don't
Okay.
think it would take a town. That's
Action.
correct, action.
They already have a driveway to Stone Tower
Mhm.
Lane. That's why I'm asking a question. To me, it seems like there's only one property that could be.
That's looking to add. a
Yeah,
driveway.
it's the lot 21,
Yeah. that's
Yeah,
what I
lot
thought.
21 is the one that's asking.
so.
But you're saying there's a larger question at play.
There
here
is
as
a
well,
larger question.
regarding the
as
status of
far
Stone
as
Tower Lane.
The town maintenance and
Right,
our liability for,
right.
The
And that gets
maintenance.
to whether or not we want to maintain its status as an emergency way,
right,
or whether we can
make it a driveway.
make it a driveway and it's no longer
Yeah.
we're not concerned that it's not an emergency.
No. I mean,
Well, we
they
need
would
access
maintain
to
it
those
just like
three
anybody
properties.
else.
Right, but it'd be like a driveway.
Like their
You'd have-
driveway, yeah.
And there's a requirement in zoning
Yeah.
for driveways and
Yeah.
how many properties you can have off a driveway.
Right.
And the
But-
driveway
but
would
we're-
have to meet.
But the driveway would, I
Right.
mean, it's an existing driveway. It isn't like they would have to upgrade it or anything.
Right.
It's grandfathered.
Right,
But whether or not the town continues to maintain that
right,
and,
right.
you know,
So I guess what I'm saying is the town doesn't need it as an emergency path in any way. Emergency road.
How would you get to those three houses?
like you do anybody else
It's a
that has a
drive, it's
driveway.
treated as
It
a
would
driveway.
be
is what
their
it really
driveway.
is. Yeah, we're getting into the discussion I
Well,
think you
that's-
want to have.
Well, no, and it's not that I want to, I just
should
want to
have.
make
Right.
sure that you're okay with
Right.
us continuing to maintain it as the fire or emergency access that we have been. Because it's not like any other way
Right,
that.
I know of
we
other
have-
people who have long driveways.
That's correct.
That are responsible for their own maintenance and
That's right.
plowing. That the DPS would have to get up into in order to reach that property.
That's right.
Where there being an
And
emergency.
the
there.
planning board is approving those
Right,
all over town
right,
at this point.
Right.
Or has as subdivisions.
right. But
And
that's a
now they're
normal,
being built,
right. And that's the way we want it.
and that's the way we wanted it. So this has kind of just evolved by
All right.
common use.
Maybe we just need to have a discussion.
Was there a vote at town meeting?
No,
No.
it was done here by the board.
So the board can undo it.
The board can undo it.
So we're looking to decide whether or not the town should continue to plow that.
Essentially, or maintain, or any other maintenance.
And
Just
and-
the yellow portion.
Well, no, we're doing the whole thing now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but the yellow portion is the only part that
The
we,
problem with the yellow portion, Margaret, is it's only half of the gravel road.
right, which
That's
is
the problem.
basically a dirt
And
road.
then that's
But
the
why
other
is that
point.
yellow
Should-
versus the whole thing being yellow?
Because the town owns the yellow piece.
Oh,
We don't own anything else there.
but we own the yellow piece.
We own the yellow piece, and the other part of that, would you want to write letters to abutters and potentially divvy that up and divest the town of the ownership there as well?
Is
Because-
there any reason to have an easement from PBTS with respect to plowing?
Um,
on
no,
that-
we
on that
already
right-hand
have,
section?
we already have that by that right of way. The town already has that.
We do.
The only access that the town uses, by that right of way is for the stone tower area,
Right, to get into.
to get into the stone tower for a public access to
Right,
that,
so mow or cut,
to mow,
cut,
to
whatever, right.
maintain that area around the stone tower.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, perhaps when we haven't been sitting for so long, 3 hours.
Yeah,
we can have a
I
separate
did not intend-
discussion.
I'm having trouble
Yeah,
understanding what the
I'm with
issue
you.
is because part of it is owned by the town, part of it is not. We plow the whole thing.
All right,
We've been
can
doing
we-
it for what, 30 years?
For a long time.
Yes.
But what brought it to the head was
Was this
the
re-
request
Right.
for a driveway permit onto Stone Tower Lane.
Is that from 21?
Yes. And
But
we,
onto the yellow portion?
It would have to.
it would, yes, it in effect goes on to the yellow
So
portion.
they already have a driveway on,
They already have a
Onto West
driveway on
Branch.
West.
so we just go all the way through, they just have one. that goes-
I don't know what their configuration is. Dave, do you know?
They were talking about adding a garage.
I was gonna say it's 1.287 acres. so
Well,
can
they
certainly
may
build a
subdivide
structure.
it,
Yeah.
and then this becomes an issue of, would we want their driveway permit to be out onto West Branch or,
They have to have road frontage.
yeah, they have to have road frontage. So it's just, it's one of those
It
things.
comes onto town property, but it's not a road.
It-
So
Yeah.
that's the.
that would-
question.
That's what I'm struggling with. So yeah, I can see where they may want to build a garage or a shed, but access it from here.
Stone Tower,
Right,
instead
not-
of accessing it
right.
from
So
West.
they're not
Branch.
necessarily talking about a one long road going through the property, just
That's
another
correct.
road that they
Yeah.
can access the structure they want,
With
accessory
that
building.
turn
they
on
wanna
West
build.
Branch Road, I would think it'd be kind of dangerous to have a driveway coming out there.
Well, and that's just it. Yes,
Yeah.
that would be a problem, Bob.
Yeah, depending upon where they. put it. So is there a need for an immediate decision or is
No,
this?
they were
Right.
conceptually asking questions, along the.
Okay,
Building permit.
On the
route
process,
for
okay.
About the process, and one of the questions I couldn't answer.
And my
Because I didn't
initial
know.
reaction was, no, you cannot have a driveway permit onto Stone Tower. Because the town only owns that yellow section. So we're not gonna grant you a driveway permit onto that little piece of land. Because we don't own the whole thing.
What difference does it make? Suppose it was a dead end road.
Because we don't even own all of Stone Tower Lane.
Well, I know,
We
it,
only own. a
But you
piece
already
of it.
have 2 driveways
But-
onto it.
but if that was a dead end road right at the end of the yellow,
Mhm.
you'd issue a driveway permit.
No, I wouldn't, because we don't
make it
own
clearer.
all of the gravel road. That's my point.
Okay.
That sliver of yellow does
Mhm.
not encompass the
The
entire
whole road.
road.
But I think
It's
Bob
only
is
a
asking,
part
what if there wasn't connect, what if the road ended at that yellow? There was no, say there was it was blocked, the
Okay,
road wasn't a
so
through
there was a
road.
dead end
Yes,
and you had a gravel road up. That yellow piece
right.
would still not be all of that gravel road. So I would still not want to issue it. Because we don't have a road that meets any of our standards.
I see what you're saying, right, and driveways. right.
Driveways are irrelevant. They're the property owner's
Right.
issue. So they can be this big or they can be this big.
Right,
But when we're talking about what the town maintains and what we allow access onto,
Would that be a Board of Adjustment kind of a case?
they can appeal his decision to the ZBA, sure.
Because I mean, if you have if they subdivided the land and you didn't want them to go out onto West Branch,
Mhm.
then that would be maybe the only other alternative is to go into the yellow portion.
If that would happen, then I would want the property owner across on the other side of the yellow.
Mhm.
What
Two property
lot number
owners.
is that?
19,
19.
19.
Then I would
18.
want we would want to get that surveyed. And we would want 19 to give them whatever they needed for access. In that case, I would want to turn Stone Tower into at least the
That portion of
18
it.
the 18-foot wide, properly constructed, even if it's stayed dirt, at least have an area that we knew
Right.
on the map that we could identify on the ground was the road. See, if this were actually at least 18 feet wide or whatever our minimum road width was along the whole way down and connected back into Boulder Path Road, even if it was dirt, I wouldn't have a problem with issuing a driveway permit onto it because it's identifiable as a road. I mean, the Stone Tower Lane right of way is really only in favor of what exists there right now. That right of way doesn't take into consideration that we're increasing the potential to use it.
Use it.
Or we turn it to a driveway, get rid of.
Turn it to a driveway.
Well, I mean,
get rid of
that's
the
not-
town
and
lane.
if the town has no,
Exactly.
town has nothing to say,
Exactly, because then it becomes property owner to property owner.
and they can figure
And
out,
they can
And they
figure it
figure
out.
it
Figure
They
out.
don't even need a
their
driveway
own,
permit for this.
right-of-way agreement.
And then they can
maintenance
subdivide
agreement.
it and go out onto Stone Tower Lane. And the subdivision can come to the planning board. And the
Yeah,
planning
it'll have
board
to
can
fit the
say,
number of
Yeah.
houses that are allowed on the
which it
driveway.
does. I mean, even if they subdivided off a
1, 2,
lot
3,
off
4.
of 21,
That to get 4, I think is the.
but they
is the
got two
number.
ends to it. They can count one going out one
Right.
way and the other 3
Right.
going out on West Branch, so.
Yeah.
Or 2 on each, whatever they
How
wanted.
they
So
wanna do it.
I don't think they'd have a problem with the subdivision if they wanted to continue to use.
Mhm.
But use it as a driveway, get the town out of it. And then do what you want.
Alright.
Because it would be 2 and 2.
Yeah, 2
Two
and
on
2.
one line, 2
Yeah.
on the other, because there's only 19 on the yellow portion.
Exactly.
That exists
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And the only other thing we have is water and sewer lines in there.
Yeah, and we have easements for those, so that's not,
That's a different
that's not an issue. Yeah.
All right.
Are you okay with the position of no permit onto it? Or do you want to just
I
tell them
don't
to
see,
wait?
I don't see how we can, if they want to build a driveway on their property,
Mhm.
they need to get a permit because it's an improvement to their property, right? They need a building permit for that. But why do we have any say as to where that comes out?
Because the town owns the land
Where it comes out.
adjacent to them.
Where it will come.
We're
out.
abutters to their property, where it comes out, where they're requesting to have it come out. The town owns that land. And that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's a good idea for us to own it. I think we ought to get out of it.
But when I put my driveway in, for instance, my
Yeah.
driveway was dirt
Yeah.
and I paved it
Mhm.
and it came out on a town road.
Yep.
I didn't need special permission to do that.
You already had a driveway permit as part of your lot in the subdivision
Okay,
plan
that came through the planning
that
board.
came
and
through
all
the
of that.
planning board when that land was originally subdivided.
If you wanted to go put one on the back of your property coming in the back way.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
then yeah.
Then you would
You
need
would.
another driveway permit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's exactly the
Right.
situation that we're looking at here.
But in that case, it's coming out to a town maintained road.
Correct.
And that's one of the reasons why
And
you
as
want a
long
driveway
as-
permit is to look at the impact on the road.
Yeah, as long as there isn't a drainage issue
Right.
or, some kind of other access issue. I mean, that's why Jim reviews the driveway permits to make
Right.
sure that.
Right.
they're
So
not
if the town was to get out of it, you mean the
We'd have
town would
nothing
give
to
up the
say.
land?
Yeah, give up that land, let it be treated as a driveway. And
So would we have to deed the land
we
over
have
to
to
them?
deed the land to them
And keep the easement.
and keep easements. Yeah, we would keep easements for
yeah.
the water and sewer line.
And for emergency purposes.
Well, we don't need it. It's just like anyone else's driveway. Think of the new houses at the end of Moose Crossing, right, by the, over and off of Golden Heights Road.
Mhm.
So you get up to the end of Golden Heights Road and make a right and go all
Right.
the way to the end of it.
Right.
They've got to maintain all of that.
Right.
It would be just like that.
And then the people that were along there will be responsible for their own plowing
For
and
their own
maintenance.
plowing.
They haven't had the expense of for the last 30 years.
You like Tea Tree Lane?
Or
Is
however
that,
long.
what is it?
Tea house.
Tea house.
Tea House Lane?
Yep, they maintain their own.
It's a lane. This is a lane, not a road.
I would
Right.
propose that we change it to
Are there
a,
meets and bounds for this particular,
for that lot, for the yellow,
for the
yes.
yellow?
It's an identifiable lot.
So you'd
on
have
our
to
tax.
decide who gets,
Yeah, we would
There'd be
divvy it
three,
up.
there are
yes.
three properties, I guess, would.
I mean, we would
Divvy it
have to
up.
have it surveyed, Bob,
Yep.
and then divvy it up to them.
The three abutters.
Or, Margaret, on the other hand, we just say no to the driveway permit and keep doing what we're doing for maintenance. That's fine as well. But I think if you want to consider this permit request, the driveway request, that's when we should not be involved in that. That's when I would recommend just divesting us of it.
okay?
All right, well,
You get,
let's have it, I think we can have a
put it on as
discussion,
an agenda item.
agenda
next time.
item when we have time to.
Yep.
To think about
Digest
it.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
this isn't something to make.
Right.
me-
But in the
this way.
meantime, do you need a decision on the,
No, we're just
Okay.
gonna put them off, tell them that you're considering it.
okay,
Well, did they understand all the things that we've talked about?
Well, I haven't
today?
had a chance to talk to them yet. We'll need to talk.
No,
Or you-
these were just conceptual
Conceptual
questions
questions.
before,
well, they've been cutting a lot of trees there,
so.
so I think that they have plans, I think it's beyond conceptual. I noticed last time I walked, I don't know, I haven't heard what, if anything, they are actually planning to do, I just noticed they're,
He-
I just
They were
want to be more
asking,
proactive than.
right, which is good,
reactive.
which is good, yeah. Okay. That's it with department head report.
So,
sorry, it was
I'll
gonna
take
be a
my
short
wrench away.
meeting.
Yeah, sure. So let me go to calendar review. Starting tomorrow and for the next several months until late July, maybe early August, we'll be meeting in the towns, all town board, our regular board meetings will be held, the town square, meeting room next to the post office. Just confirming, our next regular meetings on the 13th at 3 p.m., 13th of April. And the planning board meets the following day at 8 a.m. the 14th. And we're looking at some dates. Did you have anything
Yeah,
to?
if you could
for
look
the
at your calendars
wastewater
and
treatment?
send me an email with dates you wouldn't be available to go.
Do you have a
and
time
then-
frame that you're?
Well, it would be normal business hours between 8 and 4.
No, I mean, date wise, are you
Oh,
looking at
date wise,
starting
no, it's starting
next week
as soon as we
to-
can until
a month out,
You
2
know,
months
month-
out?
a month or two,
I'm
whatever
going
it takes.
basically between the next two select board
Right.
meetings.
Yes, I already have that on the calendar, Bob.
All right, so.
But other
you're-
than that, you're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then, so if you guys just check your calendar, send an email and with the
Okay.
dates that you wouldn't be available.
And we're talking basically a full day, more or less,
For 2 of them,
definitely,
probably a day.
definitely.
But
Plymouth.
for the Plymouth one, probably a half day.
Gonna consider as well that we were also talking about going to look at more facilities in Vermont.
Yeah, well, they haven't gotten back to us about, there are a couple more plants in Vermont, which would also be
Potentially,
day
okay.
trips. But I think we plan those down the road. Just get the 3 New Hampshire ones done first and then
Just
we
wanted
can
to-
look
Good.
at, yeah, that's a good point.
Do we get
But there
lunch
are
on the day
others.
trip?
If you want it, sure.
There
Why
are
not?
other members of the community that if there's space on the bus that will be allowed to come.
Sure, why not?
I don't
It's
know
gonna be
that.
tight on
It-
the bus.
Huh?
It's gonna be tight on the bus. Right.
Well, yeah, because there's.
Just tell them
us.
about the odor.
There's the 3 of us.
Everything we want to
We
come with
we
us.
do have, the engineers will be joining us as
Okay.
well to answer your questions, so we'll probably only have 1 or 2 seats if.
To have a lottery.
Yeah, we could have a lottery.
Lottery.
Hey, if they want to go, I can stay home too.
Right.
That's not a problem.
Lottery for a sewage treatment plant visit. That's novel.
Yeah,
Okay, so done with calendar review.
all right.
New business, we have a couple municipal solid waste committee board committee member vacancies in front of us. So I will go ahead and make the motion to appoint Barbara Laverdier, did I say that right? And Kelly Cannon to the municipal solid waste committee. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And you're gonna check and see if there were any of those inactive measure.
We're gonna have
members.
to send emails to
Okay,
them. Yeah,
yeah.
we haven't done that yet.
Very good, thank you. Okay, so the abatement issue or abatement process, I should say.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
the board has granted, yeah, there are
After
pages.
3.5 hours, I'll sign
I'll sign anything.
sign anything.
So these are the abatements that we processed, and we just need you to sign to complete the records.
I thought you had approval of this.
I do, but
Yeah, we
you
do.
have to sign it for the record
Okay,
and do that at a meeting so that they're official.
okay,
Otherwise, the auditors get mad.
all right. We don't want the auditors. to be
No, we
mad.
don't want the,
You know, 'cause they can do nasty things when they're ordering other
yes, they can.
town
There's more
things.
than one page, right?
No, the second page was just a total
For the
report
year?
for you for the year.
For the year.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think it's
So
the second
that's the
time
only-
we've done this, yeah. I think this year.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on, strategic planning meeting outline and supporting information. We're still looking at the 11th,
The 11th, and this
At-
was
village condo,
at
is that
9,
definitely?
right? Starting at 9.
9.
In their
right.
meeting room, so in the main building
But we had, what we had
where
last
we had it
time.
before.
Yeah, okay,
And Bob, you're, you know. talking about.
all righty, so go ahead.
This was just the outline that we're having the department heads use when they're gonna bring in 3 to 5 of their major priorities, whether it's a project or whether it's an
Mhm.
operational thing. They're gonna evaluate it based on this pestle
Yep,
criteria, set of criteria, just to kind of make it consistent across the board, make sure we don't leave off things. But this is just a model that some of them use SWOT analysis,
mhm,
some use the pestle, some it's called pest instead of pestle. So I mean, there are several different models out there,
Right,
but
for
this
these
is
sort of
all
things.
strategic planning type stuff. I also provided you with a copy of the existing CIP,
Right,
which we can use as another basis for the start of the
Discussions.
conversations.
Yeah.
I did talk to Dylan. We're purposely not going to bring the treatment plant forward because we've had enough of that right now. But there will be water projects that he'll cover.
yeah, and the
Other
treatment
than that-
plan is
Yeah, it's a
sui
different-
generis,
yeah,
it's off on its own,
Yeah.
so, yeah, we'll handle that.
Any
Separate
Any
extensive
thoughts or
discussion.
comments or questions on what I put in the packet, or are you all? set
No, I
with
was
that?
fine with it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we can talk in more detail about mission statement,
Yeah.
vision statement and all that, and
Speaking of which, she had, Brooke had to leave, but she had
I
her
s-
sheet,
yeah, I
which she didn't,
saw that.
I don't think, she didn't mention it, did she?
No.
I don't believe she
Yes.
did, right. This is the,
Are you, we're gonna start advertising that before the
Right.
11th, because
Right.
it's in a lot of her
Yeah.
literature that she's getting out for the summer
Okay.
Mhm.
season. Is there any thoughts, comments, questions that?
Is that pretty much the same as it's been?
Yeah, I mean, she's been doing a lot of revisions on her mission and vision type statement. She's out of all of the departments, she probably has the most work in this area of actually writing it down.
right.
She's a lot more intentional about it, so.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Connect to whom, may be a good question. Engage what, but
Yeah,
if she's happy with it.
13th.
Okay.
Make sure.
Okay, we're gonna do this on the.
Yeah, I
oh,
mean,
okay,
we can review it. I just wanted you to
Right.
be aware
Of what,
that she's getting it out there. You might see it on her website or her Facebook page or whatever.
okay, yeah,
But those are good questions that you can
yeah,
ask.
no big deal.
Yeah.
One minor grammar thing you might point out, on under vision, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth line down after that.
Yeah,
I think you don't need anything there that
Okay.
serve the current
yeah.
or a full colon.
Well,
depending upon.
she's doing the next three things.
Right.
Serve the
Well,
current
then you can go with a full colon there,
full colon.
that
All right,
serve,
all right.
but I really, it may not even need
Okay.
anything. All righty. So that takes care of strategic planning. I think we're gonna defer the renewable energy committee master plan till the 13th. I saw Kim here, but she left, so.
Yeah, I think she was here with.
For the
recycling.
recycling.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And I did confirm with her, she can come in on the 13th.
on the 13th, so they give us a chance to review the committee's thoughts for the master plan. And we can talk about it a little too. So next thing I see the new or old business, you want to do the opera vote?
Yes, so the vote that you would need, it is the $100,000 grant for planning grant. It does come from ARPA funding. And this would be for the wastewater treatment plant project. But there's a sheet here that has it's a certificate of vote that the board is authorizing me to fill out the paperwork to apply
For it, okay,
for it. And there's wording for a motion on that sheet.
I see, so
there
that's the way it has to
that,
go.
Yeah. that you
Uh,
can find.
Let me see where that, where's that, let's see. Sorry, that we're in. Let's see.
States the grant. So the town is willing to enter into
Okay.
a grant agreement. And that the town manager will be authorized to sign the grant.
So
paperwork.
with regard to the American Rescue Plan, AKA ARPA grant application, the town is willing to enter into a grant agreement with the state of the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services that the town manager sign the grant agreement, has the authority to sign the grant agreement. I
Yep,
think that's the
all,
motion
and it's for $100,000.
for
plan.
$100,000. And
I'll
do I have a
second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. That way we have it on in the minutes and
Okay,
we can
no need to
provide them
sign,
with
that's
a,
good.
nope, there's nothing
All right.
for you guys to sign. Terry will be able to
All
certify.
right, zipping ahead, old business. Now, I think we're good.
We're good.
The water
Oh, the
project
water project, we have a pre-construction
next week,
conference next Thursday, the
next
second.
Thursday, right, good. And we're still looking at probably a mid-late summer start time for that? Okay,
If we can
Did
get
you have any-
rebar.
if we can get
No
rebar, is that the issue?
No rebar, I don't think.
Maybe we
So
can.
we're good.
Everything's a problem.
Yeah,
Right,
no.
okay. You
but
good,
that's
you
it.
good then, Mark, Bob, any questions on that? Any
No,
questions?
good.
Oh, good. So you
and-
wanted to say something about reiterate the increases coming down?
Yes, so we're doing the readings today for water meter readings. Just wanted to do another reminder. I did it on Tuesday at the community meeting that the rates will be changing for trash, water, and sewer. So the residential trash fees will be going up to $60 per quarter. And our trash fees are changing by 10% for commercial accounts.
All right, let all that be reflected in the record based on an earlier vote of the board.
And that's also part of a 3-year plan.
This is year 2 of a
Three-year
3-year
plan. There's more to come.
More to come.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Have you received anything on the shuttle bus agreement?
I have.
Okay, so we'll just defer that until whenever
No,
we have something to consider, yeah?
Yeah.
Board concerns and directives. Margaret, Bob, you have any concerns?
Wasn't there this ice arena?
yes, if we could talk in non.
Do you want to we'll move that in non-public? Okay. And at the correspondence on the town core working group?
Yeah, the town core working group, I just
Right.
provided you with the email from Wendy. They had their first meeting. They're going to be focused on signage. There was a sign package that we had put together in 2019 that we're
Right.
going to pull out and
Dust off and
dust off
relook at it.
and start looking at it. There are a couple of key signs. There were 2 of them, the
This is
kiosk,
right into the, right in
town
the
square.
town square to
There
direct
was a
people out.
kiosk, a big
Yeah.
sign with a map on it and everything that we had discussed.
Right.
And I'll get you the renderings that we had, Bob, about it.
Mhm.
They want to they're going to start working with Tyrell and try to get that plan to be installed this summer,
Right,
the kiosk. And then there was a directional sign that was down by the end of the arena that directed people onto the old 7th fairway.
right,
And this is going to be very important to keep people, get the new bikes paths and everything that they're building between Village Road and Boulder Path Road, Nelson Path, how they've widened it, and the other bike paths that they have.
this is gonna direct
over
them
there.
over to there.
It's going to direct them over across Village Road. So that signage is kind of critical signs because right now people rent the bikes
Right,
and then they ride on the fire lane around the arena
Right.
and they get into the parking lot.
Right.
And then they don't know where to
but
go.
direct them
So
to a
we're
construction
trying
zone.
to, we're trying to get them away
Right.
from that and get them out because a lot of them ride out towards the north end.
Yeah,
They go to Snows Mountain,
the
the
chairlift
lift
or
and
whatever, and further
whatever.
along.
So we're trying to guide them more, get them out of town square.
And this
So
was all part of
this
that
was all part
larger
of the
program.
larger program.
that we had hoped to
I wish they could figure out how to get people not to walk on Boulder Path Road in the middle of the road instead of walking on the sidewalk.
Yeah,
Drives me crazy.
but sometimes that's sidewalk. Someone walks it often and sometimes ends up on
You
the
can come
road.
out plowing with us at night, Bob.
It's, I mean, Margaret might have a comment on this too. It's not the best sidewalk sometimes.
There are times when you don't want to get on that
That's right.
sidewalk. Right at,
Oh, right, the
yeah, 'cause it's
intersection.
like
It's
6 inches
of
of
water.
water.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
So you
when it's
walk
all
around
clear,
that and then-
even when it's
Well,
all clear, they're in the
yeah.
middle of the road.
Good point.
Actually, we talked about that and
Right.
Tim thinks, Tim's input to that was get them onto Nelson Path. Now that they've cleaned it up a little bit. And
This is a different
Don't-
area,
No,
actually.
this is a different area.
This is at the intersection of
At the
Boulder Path
intersection of Boulder
and
Path.
Just
and
walking up
Village
along the
Road.
golf course along Boulder Path.
when you go,
You've got a
going by
crosswalk.
Craig's,
yeah,
If you go across that
The crosswalk.
yeah,
crosswalk
you end
and
up in a
start,
big puddle
right,
yes,
when you cross Village Road,
correct.
the end
right,
of
heading north.
we're saying, don't let them, we don't want them, we want to guide them instead of making the right on Village and then the left towards Boulder Path Road. Get them to go across the wooded area. Keep them off of Village Road.
Right.
So that they don't go down into that low area where all the water is. So take them, there's a cross-country trail that goes out there that we would rather get the bikes going that way.
No, I'm talking about walkers.
Yeah.
Bob
Or
was
you're
just
talking
about
talking
people
about
walking in
how
the middle of the
people
road
don't
instead
use
of
Oh,
the
yeah, no, no,
sidewalk.
yeah,
And the reason we don't use the sidewalk sometimes is because there's
It's
6
low.
inches of water there.
It's by the sign, by the Boulder Path sign and the
Yeah.
little flower that,
we're gonna
And
fix
not all
that
the
as
time,
part of the
no,
road.
right.
project.
And then
Hopefully some
sometimes
of that
moving
will-
further up Boulder Path, there is a
Right?
issue with
We can fix a lot
horse
of
manure
that.
and a few other things, so.
Just keep the road
Yeah.
projects going.
Yeah, and then these people who walk their dogs there, I mean, they're the worst.
She's in the car.
You got her in the car?
I got her in the car.
You got the miscreant in the car?
Yes.
Is that punishment or
Ever since she turned 1.5 years, she's just,
uncontrollable?
Yeah.
No. I thought you sent her to all this training.
I did,
Oh,
I
okay.
did, but she didn't have her collar on. That's why she was out.
I see.
Anyway. that's
Remedial
all I-
training, no.
I
Okay,
hope
so
that's all I have,
I guess that's it. Shall we?
except the
Okay.
non-public.
So I will now entertain a motion at 4:29 to move into, actually, it's 4:30 to move into non-public. Do I have a second? I do.
All those in favor?
Aye. All right.
Bye. Thank you.
Move into non-public.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.